And starting us off, a new AfroBarometer survey reveals significant opposition among Kenyans to recent tax increases and the housing levy, alongside rising concerns about the country's economic direction and corruption among tax officials. Mumbi Waweru reports that 91% of Kenyans are opposing the petroleum taxes and 71% are rejecting the housing levy. Let's listen in.
Most Kenyans disapprove of higher taxes on petroleum products and the housing levy intended to fund affordable housing. Additionally, 62% oppose raising tax revenues to reduce government borrowing. A survey by the AfroBarometer highlights a significant increase in the number of Kenyans who believe that most tax officials are involved in corruption over the past decade. Almost half think that most or all tax officials are corrupt.
We have recently, I think this was in February 2024, there was an increase in the petroleum regulatory levy from about 25 cents to 75 cents. And of course, this affected the prices of petroleum products. And looking at the data here, so the respondents who actually disapprove of this increase in taxes in petroleum products, it's an overwhelming 91%. That means 9 out of 10 Kenyans disagree with this increase on taxes in petroleum products.
The survey reveals that widespread financial strain, with 89% of Kenyans reporting that they or a family member went without cash income at least once in the past year. Additionally, 67% experienced a lack of medical care. Furthermore, 55% of respondents depend on relatives for financial support, while 4% heavily rely on friends. 59% of Kenyans believe that the country is headed to the wrong direction, with 40% thinking otherwise. This sentiment reflects increasing concerns about income inequality, with a growing divide between the rich and the poor.
The housing levy, we have the Affordable Housing Act, which was passed, that was in March 2024. So the mandatory contribution, so the employee contributes about 1.5% of the gross income to this, and the employer a similar amount, so that the total amount would be 3% on the gross salary, monthly salary. And one thing we know, eventually this was deemed discriminatory, and unemployed persons are now expected to contribute 1.5% of their gross monthly income. And this targets the construction of 250,000 low-cost homes, but quality homes. But 71% of our sample felt that they strongly disapproved of this. So somewhat was strongly disapproved. That's a high percentage.
There is a notable divide in how different generations perceive these issues. Older people are more concerned about healthcare, while younger generations, especially those in the Gen Z and the middle-age groups, face significant challenges related to education and employment. The unemployment rate among the youth is 30% compared to 18% in the older generation. Corruption and income inequality remain pressing issues, with many Kenyans feeling the economic conditions are worsening compared to 12 months ago. Among the 2,400 people surveyed, reliance on social networks for financial support is common, with WhatsApp groups often being a source of aid.
The age group 18 to 25, 46% of them indicating they were looking for employment and they didn't have any at the point of the conducting the survey. 26 to 35, again, a very high, a high at 40. You can see that is declining.
Economic conditions and the cost of living are key concerns across all demographics. Older generations worry about healthcare costs, while younger people, especially those with school-going children, struggle with education expenses. The survey also indicates that protests and calls for government accountability are more pronounced among the youth, who are more affected by corruption and economic hardship. A new AfroBarometer survey shows that 91% of Kenyans are opposing the petroleum taxes and 71% are opposing the housing levy, with 59% saying that the country is not headed to the right direction. Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, my name is Mumbi Waweru.